And this is The Godfather, one of the best movies of all time, which is based on Buso's 1969 novel of the same name. Today, we're gonna make our classroom become a magical movie theater with experience that you have never had before. Now, please take your seats to get ready for our amazing journey.
The Godfather traced the arc of this doomed idealism with a beauty that is still fresh. The La Weekly magazine analysis of the movie. Additionally, The Guardian journal stated that Coppola's epic storytelling sweep is magnificent. They see an electric charge in simply the ship from New York to California, to Sicily and back to New York. This means that The Godfather is a cinematic work that had mastered both artistic and literary aspect. Director Francis Ford not only allows viewers to step into the life of the mafia world, but also reveals thoughts about the nature of good and evil, family values, and the guiding principles of everything.
These three advantages have helped the movie win several accolades for a decade, including the Oscar, the Golden Globe Award, the Grammys, and with a score of 9.2, is still the second place in the movie with the highest IMDb score. The Godfather makes a splash right away when its debut, grossing $243 million, against a $6 million production expenditure. From the Sicilian to the last son, and of course, The Godfather, Mario Gianluigi Buso fully explored the darkest corner of the mafia world, bringing true artistic value, completely integrity, and longevity over time for a miniature society is never accepted. Mario paints brutally realistic perspective, putting us on the other sides of the issue so we can be immersed and truly live in society, allow us to experience new and exciting emotions.
The film title is derived from the main character Vito Corleone's nickname, because in the Italian mafia, the Godfather man who has a family is frequently the godfather of the children by others. They also respect the household leader, known as a boss. In the context, the term Godfather refers to a father, a godfather, a respectable family man, and someone who can provide a safe haven for family members. Relying on in both literal and figurative sense, and Godfather in this context refers to an underworld tycoon. The title of the film conveys the Corleone family's power and authority.
The movie begins with the Connie Corleone wedding, the only daughter of Vito Don Corleone, who is called by the familiar name The Godfather. Because the family was Sicilian people, they had a custom that on their daughter's wedding day, they could not deny any request of anyone. So Godfather, with his adopted son, Tom Hagen, and to listen to 100 implore from friends and partner.
At the wedding, the youngest son of the family, Michael Corleone, came back in the name of a hero after the war. Michael and his girlfriend, Key Adams, together talk about his family. He promised that he did not be the same as his family. Johnny Fontaine, who is a famous singer, was invited to the wedding. He was also the Godfather Godjoy, who came to suggest to have him had a role in the Hollywood film Jack Wars. So Tom Hagen was sent to California to deal with wars, but he refused that deal. The next morning, when Jack woke up, the bloody head of his favorite horse was lying next to him. After that creepy scene, Johnny successfully got the role that he wants. Through these scenes, we can see the power and positions of Corleone family when words have no value, and that's when violence has a voice.
Virgil Sollozzo, who is a drug dealer who had a nickname the Turk, he proposed Godfather to protect him on the political side so that he could import and distribute a large amount of heroin. However, Vito Corleone outright refused him.
To revenge because Vito was not helping him, Sollozzo and his gang planned to kidnap Hagen.
Yourselves a merry little Christmas. Let your heart
and also kill Godfather. But fell. Hagen was persuaded by Sollozzo to accept and take part in the deal, which his foster father denied. But Hagen ignored him, and that led to Sollozzo deciding to join hands with other big families to destroy the Corleone family.
When Michael knew that bad news and come to take care of his dad, he realized that there's no security around to watch out for it, and is afraid that his dad is about to be killed. He quickly moved Dad to a narrow room and called Sonny to come and help him. To avenge his father, Michael volunteered to kill Sollozzo and Emleski, an accomplice of Sollozzo. He and his brother make a plan to meet Sollozzo and Em at a restaurant for the sake of making peace. They also hire a special gun which leave no fingerings behind the toilet sinks to kill Sollozzo and Emleski easily.
Michael used the excuse to go to the bathroom, where he took a hidden gun and assassinated Sollozzo McCarthy. To avoid arrest for murder, Michael is sent by Corleones to the island of Sicily, where he lives under protection of the local mafia, a strong gene in personality and character in itself. From that moment, Michael was ready to become one of the people to be transferred power by the Godfather.
Meanwhile, in New York, Vito John Corleone returned home and is panicked when he knows that this was Michael who killed Sollozzo and Emleski. A few months later, in 1948, Sonny hit Keller for being rude with his wife, Connie, Sonny's sister.
Keller continued to assault Connie. This time, Sonny decided to try along to find him, but on the way, he was ambushed and killed by a group of machine guns. Instead of avenging Sonny, Don Corleone met the heads of 5 great families to negotiate an end to the war between the mafia families. During this meeting, the Godfather realized that it is Don Bazzini, not Tartaglia, who is to blame for the conflict.
While hiding in Italy, Michael was married to a young lady named Apollonia. He's killed by the bodyguard thought to be Michael Fabrizio before they can flee, despite their plan to hide out until they get back to America safely. A few years later, while taking care of his garden, Don Vito passed away. Michael wed Kate and engaged in conflicts again with 5 other families in New York.
This is when Michael paused for a moment to define who am I and where do I stand in this society. Mike decided to return to Italy to hide. Here, he met a new love, even more motivation to leave the reverse violent world. Proof that he realized what he did was wrong. However, 50% of the current Michael is a mafia. Mafia's problem is still there and will chase him anywhere. Result, Michael's wife was tragically murdered at home. Eldest brother Sonny was also killed, and Godfather, his father, was no longer able to carry out the missions.
Looks like things are going to get worse. Now it's time to hit the gas. Our director had realized what he had to do, even thought it may not be the person he wanted to be. There was no turning back for Michael. The montage image is a period legendary for world cinema. While the youngster brother, Fredo, was about to take over, Michael saw the vision and quickly accreditated. The Corleone family is neat to him. Michael gradually bring the level of violence and death in business due to a new level because Michael has readily become a godfather.
Connie approaches Michael in anger and grief, claiming that he killed Carlo, but Michael denied this. Kate then confronts Michael and asks Michael to tell her the truth, whether he killed Carlo or not. Michael lied to her that he didn't. As a result of Kate insisting, Michael was forced to claim falsely that he was not responsible for Carlo's passing because she had faith in the spouse. Kate observes clemenza and cabaret grim towards the conclusion of the film. The new Corleone family, Rocco Lambert, is paying honor to Michael, kissing his hand and calling him Don Corleone. Is a noble name for a high-ranked individual. After Kate shut the door, she came to understand that Michael had taken over as new godfather. A new Corleone family empire was going to be established by a person who had been inclined to the good at first. What he had with Kate from the beginning, the desire for a normal life, which Kate always symbolized, has now become a ruined battlefield. The film ends with Michael closing the door with his back to Kay, a metaphor for he officially chose the mafia world, following Mr. Vito to become another powerful godfather.
The film with deep senses, thoroughly exploiting the psychology of the character, had left contemplation about the character as follows. Vito Corleone, a colossal figure not only in the underworld, but also in the world literature. Mr. Vito's image was shaped by a variety of sorrow of reflection, including his wife and children, friends, debtor, enemies, and himself. We can learn many valuable life lessons from this character. First and foremost, he has the ability to control his emotion. This is clear that no matter how bad the situation is, he's always keep his cool. When he was in the hospital and knew he was in danger, but still smiled at his son, Michael. Or when his eldest son, Sonny, was assassinated, he made a calm decision. For him, displaying his emotion would be the best way for his enemy to exploit that flaw and assassinate him. Another factor that contributes to errors and incomplete thinking is inability to control emotion. Learning from the mistake that led to Corleone family growth and power is not an unavoidable factor in creating a Vito Corleone, a mafia boss. Almost every man needs to mature into this. He believed that giving comes before receiving. He's always willing to help others and prefer friendship, intimacy, and love over money or power. That is why some people are willing to obey him and even die for him. This is the art of giving before receiving from others. For him, the promise is also goal. He would be able to do even the most difficult things as a person of good faith if he promised.
Sonny Corleone, Vito Corleone's eldest son, is known for his hard moves, boldness, and determination. In both the novel and the film, he emerged as the most impulsive and cruel of Vito Corleone's 3 sons. Before his younger brother, Michael, took over and built a new empire. Sonny was the chosen successor, the son with blood-stained hands who interfered most deeply in the family's business. Sonny believed that violence and killing are always the most effective ways to solve all problems. He's a volatile and emotional individual who likes wisdom, resulting in mistakes that cannot be corrected. Sonny dashed to his sister's house after learning that she was being abused while taking over the family business. Then, he fell victim to the Brazilian family's death trap, one of New York's 5 great families at the time, and died tragically and painfully. His character teaches us a lesson in emotional control, which Vito Corleone excels at. The more impatient you are, the more emotions overpower your thought, and the more unpredictable the outcomes.
Vito Corleone's second son, Fredo's identity is probably the hazest of the 3 brothers. Fredo appeared to be a weak and intelligent individual, far inferior to his 2 brothers, so Fredo has little power and position in the family. When the Godfather was assassinated on the street, Fredo was terrified and dropped his gun, crying alongside his father. Fredo is too shy to be as hot-tempered and impulsive as Honey.
Michael Corleone inherited the qualities and leadership ability of the Godfather. It can be seen that writer Mario Puzo had devoted all his attention to shaping this character. From an enthusiastic young man and considered a national hero who just returned from the war, Michael has never wanted to participate in family affairs. At the beginning of the film, he firmly affirmed to his lover that he is not like his family. However, after the events that happened to his family, Michael changed and gradually consolidated his power, establishing a new order for the New York underworld. The Godfather's 3 sons, Michael is the calmest, bravest, and most decisive. That shows in the way he deals with the family's gangster tradition. It can be seen, Michael is the most perfect copy of the Godfather Vito Corleone in a better, colder, more cruel, and unpredictable version.
The Godfather always wants his children to stay out of business, and Michael Corleone to stay out of business as well. Sonny, on the other hand, is allowed to have the Godfather with his mission. This is covered in great detail in the book. When the Godfather was a child, he snuck up on his father while he was on a mission and witnessed his father's indifference. That his evil cannot be washed away. So when Sonny's father forbade him from participating in missions, he used his story to persuade him to let her.
The claim that this is the best novel ever written is not exaggerated, because this novel is costly life lesson as well as a story about the mafia, gangster, and the dark side of New York from 1945 to 1955. Reading books, in my opinion, conveys more information than watching movies, because reading the book allows us to see the psychology of the character more clearly, and that word will appear in different ways depending on each person's imagination.
The Godfather, published in 1969 by G.B. Button's son, has become one of the greatest classics of all time, causing a stir among art critics and gradually establishing themselves in an incomparable position in the world literary village. The Godfather officially immortalized Mario's name and illustrious career, clearly become a monument with few artistic value and lasting resonance. The novel tells the story of a man descending to sin, money, fame, and hidden power, intertwining lessons about loyalty, life value, and patience with an incredible portrait of a man and his family. So what are you waiting for? Let's embark on a journey of discovery and immersion in that mysterious yet fascinating world. Right away, okay?
3 takeaways from the novel The Godfather. The first is that a man cannot be a true man unless he spends quality time with his family. You are not a real man if your parents, wife, and children are impoverished, even if you are successful and talented in the society. Second, the most painful aspect of betrayal is that it never comes from one's enemies. Third, feeling inept and useless is a man's worst nightmare. It's even more depressing than being poor and despised.
When we read the books, we learn that the Godfather is envious of his children's involvement in business and always wants Michael Corleone to stay out of the underworld. But why is Sonny allowed to assist the Godfather in this activity? A bloody story. Sonny snuck after the Godfather when he was younger and watched his father become enraged when he was stopped. Sonny used the story to persuade the Godfather to let him have, with a word, the activity of the mafia. Nearly 50 years since the first part of the film was released, The Godfather has always been considered one of the most influential literary and cinematic works of all time. The screenplay for the movie, The Godfather, by director Francis Ford Coppola, is considered the best screenplay for the Hollywood to this day.
The film creates dramatic and suspenseful moments for viewers and surprise even loyal readers of Britain Mario Puzo by the cinematograph full of art and suspense. This is a movie that no fan of action, mind, and underworld movies can ignore.